Lisa Lanier standing by. I owe Biggie an apology. I wasn't strong enough a moment ago. BB Shea went into the halls here and grabbed another half dozen mini donuts. And before I could tell Biggie, just as I shouted, "You're stronger than that," he wasn't.
That was a delicious 45 calories.
Yeah, you barely have to chew them.
You know, when you say 45 and 45 calories, they do add up eventually.
No, they don't.
No. And then I said to BB Shea, "You're strong." No, it was two.
I noticed you're really getting on me for one. He's eating 8.
I told him, you didn't hear, your door closed. And I said, "You're stronger than that." And BB Shea said, "Nah, I'm not stronger than that. I'm not even close to stronger than that." And down he went. But I'm your accountability buddy. I don't care what happens to him. True. It doesn't matter about him. You're the guy I'm with every day. I got to keep you healthy. I got to keep you that lean, mean machine you are, so that you're in here producing your tail off as you've been this whole week and this whole day.
Tell Lisa how you treated a cupcake last night.
Lisa.
No.
Listen. I don't know. Listen, Lisa, I will just say this. Yesterday was my birthday. All right, fine. That's it. All right. It was my birthday.
Her reaction is perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Happy birthday. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you. We had cupcakes, and I told Chris Dim we had a...
Minis or fulls?
Full red velvet with a cream cheese icing. And I told Chris Dim I was only going to eat a little bit of the icing because I'm on a nutrition plan. And he said, "So you're going to perform cakelingus on it." The problem
I'm not proud of it, Lisa, but I said it.
And Biggie said, "Have someone take video of you performing cakelingus on the cupcake." And the problem was, as we started, I got into the icing, and I couldn't control myself. And before I knew it, I ate all of it, the whole thing. I ate the whole thing. So I immediately scheduled a time at the gym today. I usually take Fridays off. I refused to do it. BB Shea just asked me what my last meal would be if I were on death row. And I said, Royal Feast from Sir Pizza with extra tomato sauce, a ton of chicken and pickles, both sandwich and nuggets, and then some chocolate dessert I'd have to think about for a while. So I asked him, and he had like 15 items all ready to go.
Oh, yeah. He was loaded.
And then he told me, "I only ask you so you'd ask me."
That's crafty.
Very crafty. That's how he does. That's how he does.
You fell right into the trap.
I don't know that I can.
I like steak. I like chicken.
I did.
What I like is neither of you were even thinking of why you might be on death row.
I didn't even
That's
think
not the
about
point.
that.
That's not the point.
I just, the way, you're too crafty with that kind of thing.
It may be unfair to put Lisa on the spot, but she is a foodie. So I'm sure she has some great thoughts about food.
You know, in fact, this is about foodies too. P1, KC Steve said, you guys were just talking about Leo Zamperini. And, you know, he had to eat like...
Louis or Leo?
It's Louis. He said Leo. It's Louis. Yeah, Louis Zamperini. They had to eat like when an albatross would land on their raft, they'd have to kill it and eat it raw. They'd snap its neck and eat it. That's how 43 days on
They didn't catch them all. When they would land on the boat, they'd try to catch them.
Yeah, 43 days on the open ocean. So Steve says, if the big foodies were lost at sea, who'd eat who first?
You're going to be shocked by this. We just covered this.
We just had this
covered it
conversation
on your podcast.
It'd be me. I'm slowest.
To be eaten first.
Yeah.
We pointed at him immediately.
Well, you got to keep the raft buoyant.
Lisa, what's your last meal of choice? What would you have?
Well, you know, because I have celiac disease and I cannot have wheat, I would eat all kinds of, because it's not going to matter.
Yeah, right.
It takes about 4 hours for it to hit me and make me really sick.
Perfect.
And so I would eat like cake. I would eat, big nasty, for like fried sandwiches like Popeyes and all the stuff I can't have. I would have it.
Yeah, because
well played.
But then if you get a stay from the governor, you're going to have a hell of a time.
then I'll be in bad shape.
Great news, Lisa. The governor called.
Oh God!
We have great news.
Hold my hair while I vomit. Okay.
That's right. Now, what do you think about? What are your thoughts? Because O.J. Simpson just passed away, on the job the prosecuting attorneys did in the O.J. trial now 30 years ago. I mean, Marcia Clark gets beat up for her handling of this case and the fact that they had him try on the glove and all of those things. Would you have done things differently if you had been prosecuting O.J. Simpson?
It's really easy to look back and say, oh, I would have done things differently. For sure, the glove thing was a fiasco, and, we all know that in hindsight. Mm-hmm. But it was a tough trial. It was, huge publicity. Yeah, I think they made some missteps. And, it's a sort of an example of, especially in the past, it's not as much so today, but I think it still holds true, is that celebrities can get away with stuff. I mean, he was likable, and and his team just did a much better job than the prosecution.
Yeah.
And he had a great team. He had the dream team.
So if you're rich and you're a celebrity, you can get away with stuff, at least at that time, and probably still today.
Yeah, probably still today. Yeah.
And Lisa, obviously every trial is different, but do you know why it took so long for the O.J. case to go to the jury and all that testimony?
Well, it was just, it was because it was a high-profile murder trial with lots of witnesses and lots of evidence. I mean, those can drag on. It's and his potentially, his life was at stake. He was his freedom, and you take that very seriously in the criminal justice system. And so those trials can be quite lengthy, especially where there was just a ton of forensic evidence to break down. And that's where sometimes they lose the jury with that stuff too, because sometimes the science of it just gets so boring. I've seen in med mal trials, when you get too deep in the science, I've seen jurors fall flat out of sleep, like snoring, head back,
Well,
med mal. Death. Don't get on that jury.
That's a fact. I remember when they went into the DNA evidence, that was the most boring. The blood DNA, so boring.
And the most important part.
Yeah, and it was so boring. I remember watching that going, I don't need to watch this. It was so boring.
Where's Cato?
Yeah.
Where's that dumb blonde?
That's what we That's what we need. Jeez. We were talking earlier this week about celebrities and getting away with stuff, and I want your opinion on this as well. Of course, Morgan Wallen was just charged with 3 felonies for throwing a chair off the 6th floor top of a bar in Nashville called Chiefs. And a couple of questions about it. One, do you think this eventually will get knocked down to misdemeanors, as tends to happen with rich celebrities that we just talked about? Or could he really do some jail time here? How would you approach it if you were Morgan Wallen's attorney?
Yeah, well, so he's they're for sure going to try to enter a plea agreement and get it down to some kind of probation type deal, because it was first reported that these 3 felonies that he's charged with, it was all over the media. He could do 6 years for each count. It's actually 15 years for each count that he could be sentenced to. And his big mistake here, aside from the stupidity of throwing the chair off of a 6 stories, he could have really smashed somebody down there. I mean, killed him.
Yeah, of course.
But his biggest mistake was that he threw the chair down less than a yard from a group of police officers. Like he narrowed it.
Yeah. Oh, is it that close?
Yeah,
That close?
Okay.
Yeah, they said it was so few feet that they couldn't call it yards away. They called it feet away from a group of police officers. And let me tell you, you want to get arrested right quick, you do something like that to a bunch of police officers.
Yeah, no kidding, right.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really, and there was, it was the night of the CMT Awards, and so it was, it was crowded. It was a, very popular area in Nashville. Even at that late hour, it was like, I think like 10:50 or something. People, it had just gotten over, and people were hitting the bars. So there were a lot of, passersby on the street and stuff. So he could have really hurt somebody, and that's the whole thing. They've charged him with assault with a deadly weapon, which anything you drop off of a 6-story, building just about could be a deadly weapon. So what he'll have to do, he got kicked out of Kid Rock's bar a few weeks ago, right, or a few months ago, and he's been in trouble here and there. I think, he'll at some point play the I have a problem and I'm going to go get treatment card, and that usually gets celebrities out of at least one serious crime.
Yeah, that's what Biggie was saying he would do. So bottom line, do you see him serving any jail time for this?
I mean, it could happen because of the stupidity factor of doing it right by those cops, and those cops being so mad.
Right.
And he was so arrogant. He was laughing and smiling as he was being handcuffed, as he was put into the squad car, and in his mugshot. He was just a jerk, and so I think that doesn't help his case any. But,
right.
I mean, the best thing he could have done would have been like, oh, my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were standing down there. What can I do? But instead he was like, look at me. I'm so cute and funny and whatever,
Well.
And, so it was, and he was drunk, I'm sure. I mean, how drunk was he?
Right, exactly.
For the record, by the way, Lisa, I'm going to have to take issue with your mugshot note there. I've always recommended smiling in your mugshot.
He does say
because
that.
if you look like a mess, a drunken mess, they'll hold it against you forever.
Years from now, I mean,
now it's just another smiling photo.
We cite Paul Rubens and Nick Nolte, the two
1 and 1A
bad mugshots.
Yeah, I mean, for the actual mugshot itself, you don't have to look menacing or anything. But the cops said he was really obnoxious the whole time, like through the booking, and you just don't want to. You don't want to be like that. Like, treat it like it's funny and it's a game. No. After you've almost, crush some officers with a chair. Not smart.
Some reporters asked some folks in Nashville, man on the street interviews, what do you think about Morgan Wallen? They took him to task.
I think it's great, you know. It's cool that we have a real rock star in country music.
It's my guy.
Your guy?
Everybody does dumb things every now and then.
Crazy stuff happens here all the time. I'm not surprised, to be honest.
I think the fans probably like him more, to be honest.
I like this mugshot. I don't know. He was smiling.
As long as he didn't hurt nobody.
Where everybody gets drunk in Nashville and does stupid stuff.
No, I think I'm all for it. I think all the fans are for it, too. He's not a real, PR machine.
All publicity is good publicity. Y'all are talking about it right now, and you're talking to me about it. So,
Yeah, he's definitely crazy as hell, but he makes good music. He'll always be popular. He's trying to be a rock star. Why not?
Sounds like they're going to throw the book at him, Lisa.
Those are his peers.
Chris Tipp said, there's your jury.
There's a jury. There's some quality folks right there.
Man.
If it is a reference to a movie, a classic movie, just forget it. It's Nashville. Forget it, Jake.
That's how it is. That's right.
And the bad thing is, the one guy that said about the music part is so right, because all I've done this week now is listen to Morgan Wallen.
More Morgan Wallen. That just reminds you that he's there, and he's such a great musician. Now, overarching theme to this, let me ask you your opinion on this, Lisa. I feel like that there really should be more. I think the laws should allow that he gets a real punishment out of this, that he not be able to say, oh, I have a problem and serve, 6 months. Yeah, let's say he does something. You're throwing a chair off the roof of a building. I think you do like 5 years in prison. And then we got on to talking about, like, let's say you're speeding at 95 miles per hour. It shouldn't be a thing. And look, I've done this. I've played the game where I've gotten lawyers to handle it. You pay a few $100s, you're out of it. Do you think the world would be, or the country would be a better place, is if you knew, hey, I'm speeding 95 and a 65, I'm going to lose my license and do a year in jail. Do you think that would end speeding?
I mean, it would certainly be a stronger deterrent than what we have in place right now, which is if you can afford to pay to get out of it.
Right.
You get basically, in most counties, you get 3 shots, 3 big-time speeding tickets.
Yeah.
That you can get out of before you really face any serious consequences.
I just feel like.
How many do you have, Kelly?
I can't. I'm not. My attorney told me not to speak about this.
3 strikes.
And I'm in different counties now. I go to different counties. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, I just feel like if I was told, hey, if you're caught speeding, you're going to do a year in jail. I'm like, well, I wouldn't speed. I would not speed at that point. But then,
that's technically unconstitutional punishment. That's cruel and unusual.
Well.
Yeah, I don't think you could do. But you could say the license revocation if it's a certain, especially if it's a certain number of miles over, and that would be it'd be a stronger deterrent for sure. But
it doesn't stop anybody.
People still drive without a license.
When you read arrest reports, how many people are driving without license?
All the time.
That's true. A lot of people drive without a license.
Well, it should be this. It should be, look, if you're caught speeding at a certain amount over the speed limit, you lose your license. If you're caught driving without a license, you do get jail time. Then it's a big deterrent. But they're never going to go to that.
You don't have the jail space.
They won't do it. And then we had a caller call in and say he thought, and I want your opinion on this, Lisa, because I was dead set against it. They said the more money you make, the higher the fine when you speed. For instance, whatever
a sliding scale.
Yes, whatever your net worth is, you pay like 1 or 2% of your net worth, and that's the speeding ticket. And I said, oh no, we can't go to that. We cannot do that.
No, I don't like that at all.
I agree. Well, then Chris Tipp said then the poors would just drive out of control. It wouldn't matter. B.B. Shane be going 150 miles. What does he care?
I don't make anything.
You don't make any money. You'd be going 150 miles.
Nothing.
Exactly. You'd be going fast all the time. This story we talked about earlier in the week as well, and I know this family has got to have a great case. A woman named Lisa Monk from College Station, Texas, in 2022 went in for what she thought were kidney stones to a doctor in a hospital. She's 39 years old. They went in to remove the kidney stones, and there was a successful surgery on that, but then they found a mass on her, I believe it was her spleen. So she has a mass. They remove the mass from her spleen and tell her, bad news, you have cancer, and you're going to have to undergo aggressive chemo. Even still, we think you have about 15 months to live. So she has to break it to her family, her 3 children. They take it very hard. She goes in for chemo. She loses her hair. Her skin changes. She's sick all the time. All of these things. And that goes on for a while. And then she goes back for more tests at the doctor. She visits her doctor, and they say, great news. You don't have cancer after all. The pathology was wrong. You don't have cancer after all. So, go tell your family you're fine. But now they're still having to pay bills. They're going through the red tape of the bills. And she says this was like insult to injury.
They don't wipe the medical
No, they didn't do that. And she says this is insult to injury. She underwent chemo a couple of extra times while the doctor knew she still didn't have cancer. And instead of calling her to tell her that, they waited for the next appointment. So she's suing. She's trying to sue everybody. I think she should win anything and everything she can. What do you think here, Lisa?
Yeah, the problem is she's in Texas, and they have a cap on non-economic damages of $250,000. So even if the jury thinks that she ought to get millions, she'll be capped. Her non-economic damages will be so. In other words, like if she was out $20,000 out of pocket for medical bills, she can get that. Those are her actual, out-of-pocket damages. But then her pain and suffering and all the other stuff that's non-economic capped at $250,000. So
I don't like that.
Med mal.
I don't like. That's med mal. That's as med mal as it gets.
All day.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. But and the poor lady, she her health is actually ruined. I mean, because the chemo just wreaked havoc on her body because they thought she had this really awful, aggressive, killer form of cancer. They told her she had 12 to 15 months to live, and that she could maybe prolong her life to the maximum of that by doing this aggressive chemo. And it turned out that it's a cancer that affects the blood vessels in the spleen. Mm-hmm. And so on closer inspection, they figured out that her blood vessels in her spleen were just irritated from that tumor, that she'd had that benign tumor. And so it was never cancer. And the doctor, when he told her, he was like, congratulations, you never had cancer. She was like, I'm going to come off this table and kill you. What the hell?
God.
That is terrible. Congratulations. Yeah.
That is really, it's terrible.
It's terrible. And that's what, a lot of states have these terrible caps now. And voters, when they're hearing about these people, running on these campaigns, they vote for these people. And then when it happens to them, they come into my office and they're like, what? You mean I've got a cap on my damages? What? It's like,
yeah. They voted for that.
Lisa gets to play the "Your Chickens Have Come Home to Roost" card.
Yeah, God,
that's unfortunate. Yeah,
boy, that's terrible. Did they make those laws because others have taken advantage of the system and sued for millions when they really weren't that badly harmed? Is that why they did that?
That's the propaganda that you hear, but it's actually. I mean, I've done the same. I've done tort work for 32 years. Never seen anybody who. The cases are actually so expensive and so time consuming. Lawyers can't afford to take frivolous lawsuits. I mean, it would make no sense. We would lose tens of thousands of dollars if we were trying to pursue loser or frivolous cases.
I think it's more likely that Big Medicine is leaning on the legislators saying, "Hey,
that's
cap these
I'm
things."
sure that's true.
It's the insurance industry and the medical societies.
I'm glad Dave's not here for this, man. BB Shea doesn't know anything about it, but boy, Dave would be all over this. He don't like insurance one bit.
BB Shea lives on the edge.
Yeah, he don't care.
I don't need it.
He's having a donut. What does he care?
You got 15 months left. Great.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's wrap it up.
That's better than I thought. They tell BB Shea, you have 15 months to live. That's better than I thought. Oh, great.
Oh, thank the Lord. I felt like ass this morning.